Hey, what's up, Exit the Matrix family? Bob here. Hey guys, I hope you're having a great day. Thank you for joining me on this morning talk. This might be a little longer video than usual. I'm starting it a little earlier on my drive than I typically do. That's because I just had a few things to go over and trying to get back into the regular groove of things. Last week I hardly dropped any videos. I had some stuff going on, and so I'm getting ready to get back on a run here. So anyways, today guys, I wanted to do a video on, I want to mix things up a little bit. I want to do it on video game theory. And video game theory, for the most part, goes hand in hand with simulation theory. Just some things to think about. And but first off, before we get going on that talk, I wanted you guys to know a new thing that I'm rolling out. There's a few of you that do Zooms with me regularly. You guys know at the end of my videos, I talk about that I offer one-on-one Zooms. You know, that we can talk about whatever you want to. You get a copy of the Zoom. And, you know, your donation for my time. And I've found this to be literally my favorite thing to do, you know, as far as the whole social media and content creation and everything. It's very unique. It gives somebody basically I offer myself up as somebody that you could talk to whatever you want to about. And what I end up finding out is I used to think when I started these, I'd be like, you know, teaching people some things and explaining things, but no, I've realized that a lot of people that are deep thinkers that are have awoken, wait, I should say awoken, awakened. Sorry, I got too close to that word there. Awakened. I find that it's hard for you to manage in this world, to navigate this world, because you can't really talk to people like what you want to talk to. And that could be family members, friends, co-workers, whatever, because when you think on a very deep level and other people don't, and they're acting more as NPCs, just kind of, you know, going along with the flow and just doing what they've been propagandized to do and programmed to do, you can't really express your ideas to them and stuff and talk about deeper things, because they turn into Mr. Smiths and they kind of lash out at you, or they laugh at you, or they'll turn people against you. So I offer a platform where you can come talk to me. We can have a one-on-one intellectual conversation, spiritual conversation, it doesn't matter, about whatever you want. And a lot of times I find that I'm the one that's getting taught new things, because these are people that are extremely intelligent or intuitive, or both, that are bringing new information to the table. And I absolutely love that. Like, I have one person that is just like, he's gone into non-duality so deep, and just the understanding and the experimentation of that I can't even, it's hard for me to even comprehend, but I'm, you know, looking at things in some new light because of that. And then I have another guy that he's from you know, Great Britain, great guy, and he likes to delve hard into quantum physics and stuff, and he's gone a lot deeper into it than I have, you know, because I'm essentially just trying to teach people just the surface level stuff, like really just trying to get people to open their minds, and I'm trying to, you know, connect dots and simplify things. But I've found that with these conversations, these are people that are like, have a passion for particular you know, for particular subjects, and they go so deep into it. It's on a level that I don't really have the time or know how to do. So anyways, I find a lot of that. And then I've had other talks with people about more spiritualism stuff, and you know, they talk about the Anunnaki and stuff like that, and that's all great, man. But look, that's the kind of stuff, folks, you can't just talk to anybody about. So But there's a new thing I want to add to the mix here, because as a token of my appreciation, as a gift for those that are, that set up these Zooms with me, I want to, I'm going to start sharing some of my own, one of my passions that some of you know, or all of you should know if you listen to my videos on a regular, is I like to go gem hunting. And I'm in a very gem-rich area of the Appalachian Mountains. And I do this on basically any full sun day that I can get off work early, or that I have a day off. I go out hiking and exploring and treasure hunting for gems. And I've gotten very adept at finding rhodolite garnets. I've found a very particular special area where they're very rich, and it's crazy because the creeks around that area, there's none. So it's just like, I think I've found a main vein, so to speak, and I enjoy doing that. But I've got jars of these things, folks. I mean, from little gemmy ones all the way to like big suckers that are like, I mean, they look like rocks. They're so ugly, but they're actually rhodolite garnets. If you get them under UV lighting and stuff, they light up. So I'm still working on the best ways to clean up the rock matrix off of them, and trying to find a real, like a gem, cutter or faceter that in my area that I can actually trust. Because most of these people will rip you off, folks. Like some of these rhodolites I have, if I was to take them into a shop and they test them and see that they are legit, and the size of these things, they would try to offer me like $20 or something for them, And in reality, they know if they get these things faceted and they have the right clarity and quality, that these things can be worth anywhere from $200 to $1,000 a carat. But that's just business, right? I mean, I can't hate them. That's their business. And look, gem cutting and all that, it's an art form, and it takes time, and they've been doing it their whole lives. So I get that too. I'm not trying to put down their profession. But, on my end, look, man, I spent a lot of time and energy looking for these. So what I want to start doing is I'm going to offer you a sample bag, a gift. And you don't need to worry about, I'll cover shipping and handling and all that. It'll get sent to you in a padded mailer. But, these are rare garnets. Your typical garnets are red. These are a purple. They go anywhere from a light pink to a dark, almost Merlot purple color. And most of these that you will get from me, it'll be a mix of different sizes. So you'll get some little really gemmy ones that are already they look like little gemstones because they've been tumbled by the rivers and they're already out of the rock matrix, schism, whatever you want to call it. But there'll be some uglies too in there, because you're going to get some larger ones that are, encased in rock still. And so, I'll leave that up to you to figure out how you want to get the gems out of those. But anyways, just so you guys know, the rhodolite garnet, if you look it up with like crystallology or whatever you want to call that, they say that the rhodolite garnet is extra special over the regular garnet because it's tied to the heart chakra and the crown chakra. So it's a very powerful spiritual stone. And it's one that if you're doing meditation or prayers, if you hold that in your hand, or you set it, if you're laying down, you could set it on your forehead. If you have somebody do Reiki on you, you can have it, set above your, on your forehead or above your head, because your crown chakra extends beyond your head. It's above you. Because your aura, folks, it's an energetic field that resides, it's bigger than your body, okay? It emanates from your body, outside of your body even. So, anyways, guys, so if you're interested in that, hit me up on lining one of those Zooms up, and I'll give you a PayPal link. And then once you've made that donation, you can have you'll put your address on there, so that way I can send these out to you. And like I said, I'll cover shipping and handling. It's just my thank you, because some of you have been so generous to me, and it's been a hard time on me and my family losing Exit the Matrix. Facebook, I still haven't gotten it back. They keep putting me through loops and hoops and everything else. So it's a thank you. It's something that it's a passion of mine, gem hunting. And hey, you get to walk away with some rare purple garnet gems, you know, that you can use however you see fit. Make jewelry with it, or just, you know, keep it as a little memento, or use it for your, you know, to empower your, you know, your prayers and your meditation and stuff. So anyways, guys, sorry for that long spiel. I just wanted to lay that out there for you guys, so you knew what was going on. I think that might excite some of you guys. And like I said, one of the best ways to get a hold of me, if you go to the description, come join me on Exit the Matrix Reborn, my new Facebook page. It's fledgling, I know, it's small, and I only typically do a post a day on there. I'm not putting a lot of energy in that. It's mostly into YouTube right now. But if you message me there on Messenger, that's the best way for us to have a private conversation and set all of this up. So if you're having trouble with that, just hit me up in the comments too, and I'll get with you through that also. So, but anyways, guys, so video game theory, like I said, it's very similar to simulation theory, and I'm not saying I totally ascribe to this, but I want you guys to kind of wrap your mind around a new way of thinking here. So, as we know right now, with the metaverse that they're building, right, with this matrix within a matrix, this internet of everything, internet of bodies, internet of everywhere, we know that they're building this beast system right now, and I've broken that down in Revelation, what the beast system is, right? And what they're trying to do with transhumanism, with the human body and integration. Well, they're also, essentially what they're trying to do with that, folks, is they're trying to build a matrix within this matrix. See, the people that are at the higher levels of power and influence, folks, they know that this is a simulation that we are in. Now, what kind of simulation and who created it, that's all up for interpretation. But, look, the physical body, folks, is an illusion. This whole world is an illusion. The physical body is just a vessel for the spirit. It allows the spirit to immerse itself into this third dimension. And we're finding out, when you break down everything in this realm, down to the smallest particle, subatomic, that everything is just energy particles and empty space. Now, what that empty space is, that's where we can argue, I guess. You know, is that dark matter? Is that, you know, what is that? But essentially, what we consider physical reality is an illusion to the senses of the body. It's electrical data sent to the brain, and the brain is what builds the picture of this physical realm, at least to our perception. And I know, like, I'm probably not doing this all, you know, explaining this in the best technical terms, but I'm trying to simplify it, folks. Like, look, it's an illusion. It's like, look, they knew this back in the days with Hermeticism. They understood that this was a construct and that there were rules to the game, so to speak. Plato and some of the greatest thinkers in Greece, ancient Greece at the time, they already understood that this was an illusion. The Hindus have known this for thousands of years. They call it the Maya, the illusion. The Gnostics, they understood. They called it the Matrix, folks. And they called the ones that rule behind the scenes the Archons, powerful, energetic rulers that are kind of on the other side of the veil, managing. The Book of Enoch called them the Watchers. The Bible calls them the angels. So we've understood for a long time as a human, species, or at least playing a human species while we're here, that this realm is a construct, and that there are some kind of rulers or game masters behind the scene. And the reason for that, folks, I believe personally, according to NDEs and such, that we were the Elohim, we were the Watchers, we were the shining ones, the powerful ones that came to this realm directly in spirit form and created this game, this simulation. And why? That's always the biggest question. Well, one of the oddest answers that I keep coming across in NDEs, when people are actually asked, well, when you're talking to your spirit guides on the other side, like people that have had a NDE, you know what that is, right? I can't even say it out. Look, it's stupid, folks. I get it. It's code word or code speak. They've tried to censor a lot of words out of our vocabulary. It's censorship, but you know what I'm saying, right? That's why I always just keep it to NDEs. You should know what that is by now. Anyways, they say that people have been asked in interviews about this. Well, what did you ask them why we do this? Why we come to Earth if it's like so much sorrow and pain and like strife and look, and folks, I'm not saying everything's negative and bad in this realm, but let's be real. From the day you're born, you're a slave, and you're programmed to be a slave, to be a human resource for corporations and your government. The government constantly feeds off of you energetically by taxing you of your wealth, and your religions feed on you like parasites, trying to take more of your wealth, feeding you false belief systems. And it goes on and on. You could go education and your job and look, even your relationships you're constantly being fed on energetically. And you're constantly being lied to and manipulated. So there's a lot of sorrow and pain in this realm, folks. And so people are asked this question, well, to their guides or, whatever, whoever they come across on the other side. Their higher self, past relatives, Yeshua, Buddha, it don't matter. And the interesting answer that comes up a lot is that we get bored. We're gods. In the other realm, we manifest everything. Everything's love and light. I mean, it sounds cliche, folks, but that's what it is. And because you're at a higher vibration. And the higher vibrations are love vibrations, okay? Lower vibrations are hate. So that obviously third dimension, lower, vibratory realm, we have the duality here. You can find love here, but it's also a realm heavily, swamped with negativity and hate and pain and sorrow. And so now sometimes people say it's also like a classroom. They've been told, we come here to learn. It teaches your spirit things that you wouldn't learn in the higher realms. You have to go through the sorrow and suffering to learn lessons. But it's interesting that some people do say it's because we get bored of everything being good and love and light. And so we created this realm to come to experience the opposite of that. And which is interesting when you think about the allegory of the fallen angels in the Bible, right? How they left their place in heaven, and then they came and they took over this realm, and it's really interesting. It really is. But what's also interesting is that what you do in this realm, there's no consequences in the higher realm. Now, look, folks, this flies in the face of religion, right? The Abrahamic faith would tell you that you're going to burn in hell and all this stuff's going to happen to you. Your soul will get blotted out. Your existence gets blotted out. All these fear matrices put on you, right? By religion. If you do bad here, commit sin and such, right? But it's interesting because when people cross over, some of the most despicable people, and then they find on the other side they are only embraced by love and light and understanding and teaching, and that no judgment, non-judgment. In fact, the only judgment that happens is when you do your soul review, your review. What you did, your earth review. what you did in this life. And it's interesting because they say you can see how it's more about how you treat people. That's like the biggest thing. Like if you're good to people and you show love to people in this realm, that's highly like rewarded in the other realm, or at least it's highly valued. And when you go through that life review, that's the kind of stuff that it'll show you did right. And the stuff that you didn't do right was how you treated people badly. And you'll have to feel their pain, see it through their eyes, see the repercussions like of what happened and who else it affected. Because it causes ripples in this realm, folks. And love causes ripples here, and hate causes ripples here. Because we're gods, folks. We're gods. We're ultimately powerful. And our actions and our thoughts and all of that, it can cause a lot of ripples in this realm. And consequences and, and so on and so forth. So, this whole thing with the video game theory. Think of this, folks. That we could be in simulation, like levels of simulations. There could have been in an ancient far back past where humanity reached an insane level of technology where they'd built the metaverse back then, in like an artificial like dimension. And then everybody's consciousness left a realm, entered that realm, and then from there on, just consciousness, as it was immortal, it just kept building different layers of simulations and dimensions and stuff. I mean, we don't know this, folks. Look, I'm just speculating, but this is kind of what video game theory goes into. And that this realm was created like a game. Like I said, spirits get bored, so they created a game to go play in, to go be an actor in. Play a character, right? Your human avatar body, that you even people talk about in NDEs or pre-births, where that you sit down with your guides and with other people, like in other spirits, in the higher realm, and you all kind of write up like like it's almost like a movie script, and you all decide what parts you're gonna play, what type of characters, what race, what your looks are, what your socioeconomic status, what country you're born in, what religion you're born into. All these things, folks, you plan all that out in this soul contract, or this, I mean, this is what they talk about. And it's weird because they'll say, like, there'll be, like, spirit groups, on the other side, and that you've all incarnated as a group before, and you all play different parts in each other's lives. One incarnation, you're the husband, and your wife is maybe in the next incarnation, that's like your daughter. It's like weird, like how it all plays out. And maybe you hurt this person in this life, but in the next incarnation, that person hurt you. So you can learn it from the other perspective. But they say it's all done out of love, out of learning. And that you're... it's all planned out, and you choose how hard or how easy your life will be here. Because you ever wonder, folks, how like some people are born into wealthy families here, they can go to college, all their bills are paid, they've got money in the bank, mommy and daddy can invest in a business for them, and and they have a pretty easy life. They travel the world, they eat the finest food, and and they have their trophy wife or their trophy husband, and they're so on and so forth. They have what we would consider, at least looking at it from the third dimensional perspective, a fantastic life. Now, we know, folks, that everything's not all as it seems on the surface level, right? Obviously. Okay? I'm just making a point that some people are born into, like, a kid in some poor village in Africa, and the kid's, right on the edge all the time, of like with starvation and everything. And then, some other village comes in and religious, because of religious views, and they bring in machetes and they wipe out your village. And that kid that was it. That was his life. He was born into sorrow and pain and starvation. And then he gets taken out by some rival religious village or something. I mean, and then Christians would say, well, he might have sinned, and that's why he brought that on him. But maybe God will spare him if he still was punched his ticket, his Christian ticket into heaven, right? I mean, come on, man, really? I mean, a true loving God, a fair God, you know, born paraplegic or something, and you know, and then you really don't even have you're like a vegetable your whole time you're here. I mean, yeah, man, that's the loving God that did that, right? He did that because it was such a pure spirit, you know. I mean, I don't know, you hear all this stuff, but it makes more sense of like, look, you came to experience that just to experience that, right? And you chose that. And yeah, in this realm, it might not make sense, but it's interesting to know what I was talking about earlier about how there's like, you know, no matter what despicable things you do here and stuff, there's no punishment like they teach you in Christianity and Islam and all that. Like, it's because, think about this, folks. This is the video game theory, folks. I'm not saying I'm not telling you go do anything crazy. I'm not, you know what I'm saying? Be a good person. Operate in a higher vibratory state. But just like if you're playing Grand Theft Auto and you get in a car and you go mow people down on the sidewalks and then the cops show up on the game, right? And you know, and you do crazy stuff. It's a game. As soon as you turn that video game off, you're not getting judged by God and, oh, look what you did when you were in this game, right? Because it's a simulation, folks, okay? What stays in the simulation, or what happens in the simulation, stays in the simulation. And you just reflect on that when you're done with playing the game, right? When you leave the simulation. See what I'm saying? Now, I know this is radical. And look, I get it. Look, we're in a crazy realm as it is. We don't need people like understanding this to the point, if they are bad people, that they love doing lower dimensional activities. We don't need these people going crazy, not afraid of having no repercussions, because like I said, you do go through the life review and you judge yourself. But God is not sitting there with a book of judgment, the book of life. Well, Timmy, you know what? You blasphemed my name, and I'm a jealous God. It's hell for you, son. That's it. I'm sorry, you didn't punch your ticket into heaven. Get him out of here. Send him down south. I mean, it's not like that, folks. But there's literally people that believe that, okay? But with more spiritual understanding and more enlightenment should actually get you to a point where you're actually doing, you know, more good, right? Where you're you don't want to harm people, because when you understand in that life review, you understand that like we're here to grow, to learn, and to try to overcome this realm, like the negativity of this realm. Like Yeshua said, right? Overcome the flesh, the lower dimensional self, the flesh, the beast body, the animal, carnal self that's always at war with your spirit, trying to tempt you in this realm, because the animal self wants it's survival. It's about survival. It wants to survive. It wants pleasure. It wants security and comfort. And a lot of times those things lead people to do lower vibrational things. You know, like theft and stuff, and harming others and stomping others to get ahead. And I mean, that's why we do those things, folks, because it's that animal self is winning that battle between the spirit and the carnal self. And you know, if you're awakened, then you understand the game. And so a lot of times you'll find like characters like Buddha and stuff, they just decided not to play the game, right? To sit out, because they understood it was a game. And they could see it from a third person perspective about what was really going on. And of course, Christians a lot of times would say, well, that's a fence sitter. That the Lord says that's a lukewarm person. And he's neither hot nor cold. He's lukewarm and he'll spit him out. You know, it's like, of course, folks, this is based on, you know, the God of retribution and jealousy and everything else, right? You know, that loving God, right? Yeah. That would create humans, you know, to be, if you believe their line of thinking, that poor kid in Africa that did nothing to anybody, his whole life was pure torture, and then that was it. It was cut short. Wow. Yeah, man. Cool, man. That's some great God there, folks. I mean, look, I'm being an a-hole, and I get it, but whatever, man. Hey, your beliefs are your beliefs. But look, you choose your avatar, your character, just like in a video game when you come here, and that's according to people talking about your soul contract, or your before you come into this realm, you're planning the script, so to speak, right? And you decide where you're going to be born, what country, what religion you're going to be born into, and all that kind of stuff, or non-religion, if it's an atheist family or a secular family. And then then you get it. You come in, you play this game, and you think it's real. It's like the most insane VR headset. See, folks, the body is the VR headset. And when you immerse yourself, when you take on that body and you operate it, it allows you to function in this realm. Sorry, I'm just backing in here, folks, in here to work. But look, it's very similar to like a role-playing game. I've mentioned this before. One of my favorite games I used to play a lot was it's called Skyrim. It's a kind of a medieval fantasy type game, right? Like Lord of the Rings, kind of like that type of game. But you pick your character you want to be, and then you go through this game and you learn new skills. And as you learn new skills, you kind of level up, you get better, right? There's all these different skills in the game you can learn, And it's kind of like that in this realm, As you go through life, you learn new skills, you learn from your mistakes, and you continue to you gain different skills. Some of you are welders, some of you are plumbers, some of you are accountants. You know what I mean? Like teachers, whatever. So, it's very similar to a role-playing game. It really is. Because you're role-playing. Look, you're not your body, folks, okay? You're not the body. The body is just the vessel. A lot of times when people have an NDE and they pop out of their body and they're looking down on their body as like the doctors are working on them, or they're like the body's in a mangled car crash, right? They say it's really odd because they don't feel an attachment to the body anymore. It's like they just look at it indifferently, like, oh, wow, I guess I wasn't that body, But the consciousness moves beyond the body, which is the true self, okay? That pure consciousness, pure energy is what survives and moves beyond, when the body is no longer able to function, right? So, and then that's when you make that reverse transition, the reverse birthing transition I've talked about in NDE accounts, to the void, the womb, and then to the light, through the tunnel, just like how you came into this realm, right? From the womb, through the tunnel, through your mother, right? The birth canal, into the light. Same thing, folks, it's in reverse. And then you go back home, then you have the life review. And then there's always a point, because obviously, folks, look, everybody's always like, yeah, well, all you ever hear is they get sent back. Well, yeah, but folks, how many people decide to just stay and don't come back? Okay? And the string gets cut, the silver cord, and there's no turning back. And they always say, like, once you get beyond this gate or this river or walk into this city, that's it. There's no going back because you're back home. You've completely left the simulation behind, and you're not going to go back in the simulation. If you decide to go back to the simulation, they can make a miraculous recovery of the body. They can do all kinds of stuff. There's been people that were literally in rigor mortis, completely in rigor mortis, in a morgue, and they decided to come back, and literally the body had to like awaken and get the blood flowing again. And I mean, wow, dude, I remember that story that lady told. That was intense. The only way that literally her brother, she was able to make a little bit of noise when she was in the morgue thing, where they put your body in there, and made a little bit of noise, and he had him open it up, and she had a tear coming down her eye because she still couldn't move or anything because her body was in rigor mortis. I mean, it's like, what? I mean, really, folks, like, it makes you think about the vampire stories of old, right? When they think people were dead, then they find that they clawed their way out of like the grave, right? And they thought, oh my God, it's a vampire, Well, yeah, folks, because they probably had an NDE, And then they woke up underground and they freaked out and they clawed their way out of the ground. And, you know, right? I mean, that's where vampire like stories came from. So anyways, guys, we might just call this a part 1 because obviously I couldn't cover everything I'd like to. And I need to get to work here. Yeah, Mondays are horrendous. But anyways, guys, we'll pick this one back up. Video game theory, right? And then remember what I said about the Garnets as a gift. Now, if you set up a Zoom with me, I will send you a little gift of Garnets, and it'll probably be a little bigger bag, depending. You know, if you most of the people I do these with, they usually book 2 hours. Okay, at least 2 hours. I've had some; it's like 3 hours even. So, obviously, I'll give a little bigger gift to those that are a little more generous, right? It's only fair, right? I mean, if somebody's booking 2-3 hours with me, I'm probably going to give them a little more than somebody that books an hour, but I'm still thankful for that person that booked an hour, and I look forward to that conversation. So anyways, folks, hey, I appreciate you guys, I love you guys, and I'll talk to you later.